In this video, I will show you the basics of C# in Unity in under 10 minutes, and after that, you will be ready to make your first game today. Hey everyone, my name is Steven, the main man behind Steve Game Studios, and if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing because I develop my own game forms right now, also with Unity and C# and also with community-driven development, so that's why I highly recommend you to subscribe right now. But now, without further talking, let's teach you some C# basics. So before we can get into C#, we obviously need to create a new project in Unity, so let's just hit the new project. Let's make it Universal 2D and let's call the project name something like Learning. And then of course hit create project. And if you haven't already downloaded Unity and Visual Studio, the links are both in the description. Just download and then come back to this tutorial. So now that we're here in the scene, let's do some quick setup. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a new TextMesh Pro object. And of course, if you haven't yet, then just import the TextMesh Pro essentials here. After we imported those, let's just go to the canvas. Let's hit a screen space camera and let's put in our cameras nice and clean. Then we're also gonna take the text and put it like somewhere here in the middle, maybe even minus 150 on the Y. And then you can also make this a little bit bigger, maybe something like 3 times 3. And then I also need a new button. This is also really important just to showcase you in a minute how C# works. Here we can also scale it up to something like 3 times 3. So after that we have this nice little scene here, and let's also make a new folder, call it scripts. This is just a great habit for when you actually make your game. And then let's create a new C# script in here and let's call it game manager. And then the last thing we're gonna do, we're gonna create a new empty object and let's call it also game manager. And then let's attach our game manager script to the game manager object. And so that is the basic setup of the scene. So now that we have the setup, first thing I want to begin with are variables. So the first thing you need to know about C#, we have object-oriented programming. So what this means is, just picture a human for a second. Human has different kind of attributes and different kind of functions. When we talk about attributes, we talk about attributes like height, the name, or for example, has this human being 2 legs, yes or no? Those are all possible attributes for the human being, and so this is an object that we can design in C#. So when we then look at the code, we have here in Unity the start and the update function. I'm gonna come to this in a second, but let's now make some variables. For example, a name of a person. For this, I'm just going to type in public string and then name p and then equals to Tom. So this is our first line of code that we wrote here. And the nice thing about C# is that when we declare variables, the build-up is always the same. The first thing that we write here is public. You can also set a variable to private, but I'm going to keep the tutorial simple, so just write public and you are all good. Then we have string. String is a data type because at the end, you know, a human being has different type of variables. If we talk, for example, about the age of the person, this is something you should rather store in an actual number rather than, you know, a string. So that's why we have different data types, but you will also see in the upcoming minutes what I mean with this. Then we have the name of the variable, in this case name p, and then we have the value of the variable, in this case Tom. So this is the basic build of a variable. Let's try this once again with the age, for example. So again, we will just type in public, and I would also recommend you to use actually the program. So if you already see public on the screen, just press enter and the rest will automatically be filled up. But then we also need an int, and then let's call this variable age because we want to describe the age of the person, and then set it equal to maybe something like 20. Those are our 2 variables with 2 different data types and also 2 different names. This is also really important that you always have individual name for your variable. And obviously this is something that we have for now just in the code. So if you actually want to see the value of age, for example, go into the start function here and type in debug.log and then type in age, and then here a semicolon at the end is also very important that you know that in programming. Then we just save the script, just press Ctrl S, and when we now hit play, you will see on the console here on the bottom that we actually printed a 20. And the reason why we saw a 20 on the console is because we declared here a variable age, then we put here in the start function. This is one of the first functions that Unity plays when you actually hit the play button. And in the start function we declared debug.log. This is like another function for console like we know from other programming languages. And then we just put in here in the brackets the age, so it actually takes the value of age and then prints on the console. So now that we understood the concept of variables, let's focus on the next point, and those are functions. Like I said before, just picture yourself a human. We have now declared a human with the name Tom and with the age 20. And so those are the variables of the human. And now if you want to change something dynamically, then we use functions. For example, one function could be move your arm or move your leg, for example. In this case, we're gonna make a new function and we want to attach it to the button that we just set up earlier. So in order to do it, the first thing that we need to write is public, then void, then the name of the function. In this case, just say button press. And then we have here the brackets and different brackets, I would say. So this is our basic bit of the function. Let's get quickly over it. Again, we have here public. You can set it also to private, but let's just just stick with the easy explanation. Let's just write public. Then we have the void. I'm also gonna explain this in a moment what this exactly means. And then we have the name of the function button pressed. Here we can give a parameter. I'm also gonna explain this in a moment. Let's just focus now on the actual button function. What I want to achieve here is, let's get quickly to Unity again. So what I want to achieve here is, if I press this button, I want to make the text to something like, hi, my name is Tom, because Tom is also here the name of the variable. So in order to do that, all we need to do is just go ahead and make another variable. Again, we type in here public, and then the data type would be text mesh pro UGI. We just will call it something like basic text. Very important here, this is a Unity specific data type. So data types like string or int, you can see them in every other programming language, but text mesh pro UI is something specifically for Unity. You can also see that once I created this variable in the import section, Unity created this using tmpro line. So with this, we can actually use the text mesh pro text. When it comes to the dynamic change, we need to go to the button pressed function and we need to type in basic text. And we also see here that Unity already shows us .text equals to name p, and we can just press tab and then we have this line ready to go. And that is everything we need for the C# script. In Unity, the one thing that we also need to do is then go to the game manager, and we can see here, because we set every variable to public, we see here also the Tom as well as our basic text. And in order to make this work, we need to go to the canvas, take our text object and just put it in here to the basic text. And then one last thing that we also need to do is we need to go to the button and then go to the right here in the inspector. You will see a little on click section. Here we can just press the plus button and then take our game manager, put it here into the object field, and then here where it stands no function, let's just go into game manager and then button press. So that's how we assign the button press function that we just created in the C# script. And now we can hit play, and when we actually press the button, you will see that the text changes to Tom. But of course we wanted to make text something like, hello, my name is Tom. So in order to do that, we need to do a little bit more work. So I'm just going to remove the name p for now. All we need to do is we need the lines that go up here, and then we need to type in here, hello, my name is, and then we're also going to make a space here. And of course we could write Tom, but we want to make this dynamically. So if I change the name from Tom to maybe Steven, for example, then I want also this function to change and to always show the actual name. So in this case, we will just go ahead and press plus name p, and then again we're gonna make the semicolon. And of course, if you want to make a proper sentence, you could also again press plus point. This should be it. Now when we press play again, we're going to click on the button, and you see here, hello, my name is Tom appears on the screen. And we can also go into the game manager and change here actually the name from Tom to Steven. And when we then press the button, here should appear, hello, my name is Steven. And because there is not much time left, I'm going to explain one last thing to you, and those are the parameters and what this void actually means. So in order to explain that properly, I'm going to go again into the canvas. We can also open the scene here, and then let's go into the canvas and create a new input field also with text mesh pro. Let's take it and let's put it something like 300 should work, and then we're also going to scale it up to 3 times 3. Now we have this text field here, and what I now want to achieve is I want to type in here a number into this text field, press a button, and then the text should give me the number times 2. To accomplish this task, the first thing I'm going to do is write a new variable. Again, we start with public. This time the data type will be tmp underscore input field, also with the name input field. This data type is again something that is only available in Unity. And then I'm going to write a new function, again starting with public. Instead of void, I'm going to write int multiply and then the brackets, the different brackets. And in the first brackets, I'm going to write string value. So this is the parameter and this is the data type. And to explain it better, I'm actually going to write the code first. Let's go ahead and write in here int r value equals to int dot parse value, and then return r value times 2. So what we do here is basically when we have a parameter, we have the ability to give the function something, and then we have within the ability to return something. So what we do here is we give the function a string, and because we return an int, we need to convert those data types. This is also very important that we always convert the data types. So that's why we used here the dot parse, and then we put in the value there. And then here we actually return the value times 2. So when you have a void function, you don't need to return anything. But if you have an int function, for example, or a string function, you always need to return something. The last thing would then be to delete this line here, just to change that. So again, I'm going to write basic text.text equals to, and then multiply with the brackets. And here I'm going to write input field.text. And again, we see an error because we are trying to give the string an int. So that's why, again, we need to convert this here. For that, I'm going to write toString with the brackets and the semicolon. And that is basically everything we need to do in the C# script. In the Unity inspector, we just need to get the input field again, and let's put it here into the game manager. And then when we hit play, we can go ahead and here in the text feed write 50 and then press the button and we will get 100. And so this is how we can see that it works.
Nice.
It was pretty close, but we actually did it. I explained to you the basics of C# in under 10 minutes. Of course, those are only the essentials. So if you want to make now a really good game, click on the E, because there you can learn with more time how to make a complete game. That is pretty fun. I really hope this tutorial helped you. If yes, then leave a like, leave a comment on why you're learning C# in Unity and what game do you want to make in the future. And of course, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss my future tutorials and also the game that I'm making forms with you, with community-driven development. We will create a great game together. I would really love that, but otherwise I just wish you a good day. This was it, guys, and remember, together we game.